We're on to section 1.5, which is about bisectors. Okay, a bisector is essentially something that cuts something else in half. That's what a bisector is. So if I had a segment here and I drew a line that cut it in half so that this part was the same as this part, that line is a bisector. All right, there is a special name for the point right there. This point is called a midpoint, and it's equidistant from the endpoints of a segment. You can find the midpoint of a segment. So if I told you that point C was a midpoint, that would mean those were the same. So if that was 5, that would mean that was 5, and it would mean the whole thing was 10. So that's pretty straightforward. We can find the midpoint between 2 points in the coordinate plane. And it looks like this. Say we have point x1, y1, and point x2, y2. We just use the midpoint formula to find it, and the midpoint formula looks like this. x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. The midpoint formula is actually a coordinate, so let's pretend we had 3, 4, and -9, 6. Then we'd just add. We'd say, okay, 3 and -9, that's -6 over 2. Add our y's, 10 over 2. So our midpoint would actually be -3, 5. That's the midpoint formula. It's very simple. Okay, so know that. We can also have something called an angle bisector. An angle bisector cuts an angle in half. So maybe we've got this angle. This is angle ABC. Okay. If I had an angle bisector, it would go right down the middle. That's a D, maybe BD is an angle bisector. And what it does is it divides the angle into 2 congruent parts. And I don't think I mentioned this last time, but the little arcs like this mean congruent. So if so whenever you see that, that means that those are the same. If there are several angles, this means those 2 are the same. This means the other 2 are the same. So that's pretty easy. Just wanted to mention it. So angle bisectors and midpoints are really easy. You just have to remember that it makes each part the same. So often you'll have something like 4x plus 2 and 6x minus 7, and you'll be told to solve for x. Well, that's easy because it's an angle bisector, which means that these 2 things are the same, so you just set them equal. And that's basically it.